The
And
wedding
now,
hall
a
was
few
full
words
of
from our
light,
guest of honor.
flowers,
Thank
and
you.
soft
It's so
music.
beautiful to see
White
love bring
roses were
everyone together.
everywhere. Guests sat in long rows, smiling, talking, and waiting for the big moment. Everyone thought this would be a happy and perfect day. The bride stood near the stage in a beautiful white dress. She looked calm, but inside, her heart was not calm. Her smile was wide, but her eyes were cold. She was not just happy. She was planning something. The groom stood beside her. He fixed his suit and looked around the room. He tried to smile for the guests, but his hands were shaking a little. Deep inside, he felt nervous. He knew something was coming, but he did not know how bad it would be. In the back of the hall, a pregnant black woman sat alone. She wore a simple blue dress. Her hands rested on her belly. She looked quiet, but her eyes showed pain. She did not belong there, but she was invited for a reason that did not feel good. People around her whispered, "Why is she here? Isn't that his ex? I heard she is pregnant." The woman heard the whispers, but she stayed silent. She kept her head down. She did not want attention. She only came because she was told she had to come. The bride took the microphone. The room became quiet. "Dear friends and family," the bride said with a sweet voice, "thank you for coming to our special day." Everyone clapped. The bride paused for a moment. Then she smiled again, bigger than before. "I also planned a special surprise," she said. "A very special moment for my husband and someone from his past." The guests looked at each other. They were confused. The bride slowly turned her head and looked toward the back of the hall. Her eyes stopped on the pregnant woman. The room became very quiet. The bride raised her hand and pointed gently. "Please," the bride said, "come to the stage." The pregnant woman froze. Her heart started beating fast. She looked around. She hoped someone else would stand up, but no one did. All eyes were on her. Slowly, she stood up. Her legs felt weak. One hand held her belly. The other hand held the chair for balance. She took a deep breath and started walking. Each step felt heavy. People watched her. Some looked curious. Some looked uncomfortable. Some looked like they already knew this would not end well. The groom looked down. He could not look at her. His face was pale. The woman reached the front of the hall. She stood near the stage. She did not know what to say. She did not know why she was called. The bride walked closer. Her smile was still there. "You still sing, right?" the bride asked, acting kind. "You always loved singing." The woman looked at her. Her lips shook. "Yes," the woman said softly. "Good," the bride said. "Then today, you will sing for us." The guests gasped quietly. "Sing," someone whispered. The woman's eyes filled with tears. She looked at the groom. He did not move. He did not speak. He did not stop it. That hurt her more than anything. The bride handed her the microphone. "Don't be shy," the bride said. "This is a happy day. Give us a song." The woman held the mic with shaking hands. She did not want to sing. She knew this was not about music. This was about humiliation. This was about power. This was about showing everyone that she was small and weak. Her mind went back in time. She remembered when she first met him. He had nothing. No money. No big job. Just big dreams. She believed in him. She supported him. She helped him when no one else did. They planned a future. Then everything changed. A new woman came. A rich woman. A woman with power and status. He changed too. He stopped calling. He stopped caring. Then he left. She found out she was pregnant after he was gone. She tried to tell him. He did not answer. Now she was here, standing in front of everyone. Pregnant. Alone. Holding a microphone. The bride stepped back and crossed her arms. Her friends smiled quietly. They were waiting for her to break. They were waiting for her to cry. They were waiting for her to look weak. The music started softly. A slow piano sound filled the room. The woman closed her eyes. Her heart was beating fast. She took a deep breath. The room was silent. Everyone was watching. She opened her eyes and looked forward. This was her moment. Not to be shamed, but something inside her felt different. She did not know why, but she felt a strange strength growing inside her. Her lips moved closer to the microphone. Her voice was about to come out, and no one in that room was ready for what would happen next. The first note had not even left her lips yet, but her mind was already far away from the wedding hall. Her hands still shook on the microphone. The soft piano music played in the background. The guests waited, but inside her heart, Memories were louder than the music. She was not just standing on a stage. She was standing in her past. Years ago, her life was very different. She met him when he was nobody. No big job. No nice car. Just a young man with big dreams and empty pockets. People laughed at him. People said he would never be anything. But she believed in him. She worked long hours. Sometimes 2 jobs. She paid bills when he could not. She cooked. She cleaned. She encouraged him when he wanted to give up. At night, they would sit and talk about the future. One day, he would say, "I will make it. I will give you a better life." She smiled and believed him. She did not need money. She needed love. And for a long time, she thought she had it. Then things started to change. He got a new job, new friends, new clothes, new attitude. He started coming home late. He started answering his phone in another room. He stopped looking at her the same way. She felt it in her heart before she saw it with her eyes. Then she met her, the new woman, beautiful, rich, confident. She walked into his life like a storm. The new woman smiled at her, but her eyes were sharp. She asked too many questions. She looked at their small home like it was nothing. She looked at her like she was nothing. Slowly, he changed more. He started to feel embarrassed of his past, embarrassed of where he came from, embarrassed of her. One night, he came home quiet. "I need space," he said. That space became distance. That distance became silence. Then one day, he did not come back. She waited. She called. She texted. No answer. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into pain. Then the truth came out. He was with the other woman. He was living a new life. A better life. Without her. She cried for nights. But life did not stop. Bills still came. Work still waited. She stayed strong. Then something else happened. She started feeling sick in the mornings. She felt tired all the time. Her body felt different. She went to the doctor. The doctor smiled softly. "You are pregnant," the doctor said. Her heart stopped for a second. Pregnant. She felt joy and fear at the same time. She thought of him. He had to know. This was his child too. She called him. No answer. She texted him. No reply. She sent messages. Nothing. Finally, she went to his old number. The phone rang. He answered. She told him. There was silence. Then his voice changed. "This is not my problem anymore," he said. Her heart broke in a way she never felt before. She tried to explain. She tried to beg. He hung up. Later, she found out the truth. The new woman knew. The new woman knew about the baby. And she did not care. In fact, she was angry. Not at him. At her. The new woman felt threatened. She did not want a reminder of his past. She did not want a reminder of where he came from. She did not want a reminder of another woman in his life. So she used her power. She used her money. She used her control. She made sure the pregnant woman felt small. She made sure she felt invisible. Or so she thought. The wedding invitation came like a slap. At first, she thought it was a mistake. Why would they invite her? Then she understood. This was not kindness. This was a trap. This was a stage. A place to shame her. A place to break her in front of everyone. Now she stood on that stage. The same rich woman. The same man. The same pain. But she was not the same woman. She was no longer alone. She carried a life inside her. She carried strength she did not know she had. She looked at the groom. For the first time, she did not see love. She saw weakness. She saw fear. She saw regret hiding behind his eyes. The bride stood with her arms crossed. She looked proud. She looked sure she had won. But she did not know something. She did not know that pain can turn into power. She did not know that a woman who has lost everything has nothing left to fear. The piano music continued. The room waited. The pregnant woman lifted her chin. She took a deep breath. This was no longer just a song. This was her story. This was her truth. And when she opened her mouth to sing, the whole room was about to hear a past that could not be buried before the wedding day. The bride had planned everything. She did not believe in accidents. She believed in control. In her big house, sitting with her closest friends, she laughed while holding her phone. "I will make sure she never forgets this day," the bride said. Her friends leaned closer. "You invited her?" one friend asked. "Yes," the bride smiled. "I want everyone to see her. I want her to feel small." "But she is pregnant," another friend said quietly. The bride rolled her eyes. "That makes it even better," she replied. People will feel sorry for her. Then they will look at me. The perfect bride. The perfect life. Her friends were silent. The bride continued. She thinks she can still matter, the bride said. I will remind her that she is the past. I am the future. The plan was simple. The bride knew the pregnant woman used to sing. She also knew the woman was shy. She believed that standing on a big stage, in front of rich guests, would break her. She wanted tears. She wanted shame. She wanted everyone to see the difference between them. Power, status, control. That was what mattered. On the wedding day, everything looked perfect on the outside. Flowers, music, smiles. But behind the smiles, the bride's mind was busy. She watched the pregnant woman from across the hall. She saw how she sat alone. She saw how people whispered. She felt proud. This is working, she thought. The bride leaned toward her friends. Watch this, she whispered. This is my moment. When she took the microphone, her heart beat fast, not with love, but with excitement. She loved attention. She loved being in control. When she called the pregnant woman to the stage, she felt powerful. She felt like a queen giving orders. She saw fear in the woman's eyes. That made her smile. The groom stood beside her. He felt sweat on his neck. He knew this was wrong, but he said nothing. He had learned to stay quiet. He had learned that silence was easier. Easier than facing the past. Easier than facing guilt. Easier than standing up. He told himself, it will be over fast. But he was wrong. The moment the pregnant woman held the microphone, the room changed. People leaned forward. Phones came out. Whispers grew louder. The bride's friends watched closely. Look at her hands, one friend said softly. She is shaking. The bride smiled. Yes, she said. She is breaking. But the bride did not see something else. She did not see the quiet fire growing inside the woman. The woman was scared. Yes, but she was also tired. Tired of being silent. Tired of being pushed away. Tired of being treated like a secret. The piano music played slowly. The bride expected a weak voice. A crying voice. A broken voice. She wanted to look kind after. She wanted to say, oh, don't cry, and act like a hero. That was part of her plan. To look powerful. To look generous. To look better than the woman she hurt. The guests felt the tension. An older woman in the crowd whispered, this does not feel right. A man shook his head. Why make her sing? This is cruel. But no one stood up. No one stopped it. The groom looked at the floor. He felt his chest tight. He remembered late nights. Small apartments. Shared dreams. He remembered promises he did not keep. He tried to push those thoughts away. But they came back stronger. The bride stood with her arms crossed. Her dress was perfect. Her hair was perfect. Her smile was perfect. But her heart was hard. She believed she had already won. In her mind, the past was something to step on. Something to bury. Something to laugh at. She did not think about the baby. She did not think about pain. She only thought about her image. Her status. Her story. She did not know one thing. A person who is pushed too far does not always break. Sometimes they rise. The pregnant woman lifted her head. Her breathing became slow and steady. Her hands stopped shaking. Not because fear was gone, but because something stronger took its place. Courage. Truth. A voice that had been silent for too long. She looked at the guests. She looked at the groom. She looked at the bride. The bride raised her chin, like she was saying, go on. Entertain us. The piano music grew a little louder. The moment stretched. The room held its breath. The bride thought this was the moment of her victory. She thought this was the moment the other woman would fall. She thought this was the moment everyone would see who mattered. But what the bride did not know was that this stage was not just for humiliation. This stage was about to become a place of truth. And once truth is spoken, it cannot be taken back. The pregnant woman opened her mouth. Her first note was about to fill the room, and nothing would ever be the same again. The first note came out soft, so soft that some people almost did not hear it. But the room felt it. Her voice was not loud. It was not weak. It was real. The piano played slowly. Her voice followed, calm and clear. At first, the guests thought it was just a normal song. A sad love song. A song about two people who once cared. The bride relaxed a little. This is boring, she thought. She's just singing. But then the words started to land. Not like music. Like truth. The pregnant woman sang about a young man with big dreams. A man with empty pockets and a full heart. She sang about late nights and small rooms. She sang about promises whispered in the dark. Some guests looked at the groom. He felt his chest tighten. He knew those words. They were not random. They were memories. The woman sang about standing by someone when no one else would. She sang about paying bills with tired hands. She sang about believing when others laughed. The room grew quiet. Phones slowly went down. Whispers stopped. People leaned forward in their seats. This was not just a song. This was a story. The bride's smile became stiff. She felt something was wrong. This was not how she planned it. The pregnant woman's voice grew stronger. Not louder. Stronger. She sang about change. About how love can slowly turn cold. About how a man can forget where he came from. The groom's face lost color. His jaw tightened. His eyes became wet. He remembered the first time he bought a nice suit. The first time he felt important. The first time he started looking down on his past. The song held up a mirror, and he did not like what he saw. The bride shifted her weight. Her arms uncrossed. She looked at her friends. They were no longer smiling. They were watching, listening, feeling. The pregnant woman closed her eyes while singing. It was like she was not in the wedding hall anymore. She was back in her old life. Back in that small kitchen. Back on that old couch. Back in the days when love was simple. Her voice carried pain, but also strength. The song moved into a new part. A deeper part. She sang about betrayal. Not with anger. With truth. She sang about a man who chose comfort over loyalty. A man who chose money over memories. A man who walked away from love. The guests shifted in their seats. Some looked at the bride. Some looked at the groom. Some looked at each other. The room felt heavy. The bride's heart started to beat fast. This is not right, she thought. This is not what I wanted. She stepped forward a little. She thought about stopping the music, but something stopped her. The room was too quiet, too focused. If she stopped it now, everyone would know. Everyone would see. The groom could not look away. Every word hit him. He remembered the phone call. He remembered his cold voice. He remembered hanging up. His hands started to shake. The pregnant woman opened her eyes. She looked straight at him while singing. Not with hate. Not with anger. With honesty. With pain that had been carried too long. Her eyes said what her mouth did not. You did this. The groom swallowed hard. His throat felt tight. The bride noticed. She saw the way he looked. She saw the way his face changed. Fear touched her heart for the first time. Not fear of the woman. Fear of losing control. The song slowed. The piano became softer. The woman's voice became more gentle. She sang about loving someone even when it hurts. About hoping even when hope is small. About holding on even when hands are tired. Some guests wiped their eyes. An older man in the crowd shook his head slowly. This is real, he whispered. The bride felt her power slipping. This was not humiliation. This was connection. The crowd was connecting with her. The woman she wanted to shame. The woman she wanted to make small. The pregnant woman stood taller. Her shoulders straight. Her voice steady. She was no longer the quiet guest in the back. She was the center of the room. The bride felt invisible for the first time. The groom felt exposed. The past was no longer hidden. It was being sung. Out loud. In front of everyone. The last note of this part of the song hung in the air. Silence followed. Deep silence. No clapping. No talking. Just breath. The pregnant woman took another breath. The next part of the song was coming. The part that would go even deeper. The part that would change everything. And as the piano prepared for the next verse, no one in that room knew how much more truth they were about to hear. The piano started again. This time, the sound was deeper, slower, heavier. The pregnant woman did not rush. She let the silence sit. She let the room feel it. Then she began to sing again. Her voice was calm, but every word was sharp. Not sharp with anger, sharp with truth. She sang about a man who was lifted by someone else's hands. She sang about dreams paid for by tired nights. She sang about bills covered by a woman who believed. Some guests looked confused. Others started to understand. The groom's face went tight. He knew exactly what she was singing about. She sang about working late shifts. About coming home with sore feet. About smiling anyway. About saying, "It's okay, I believe in you." The crowd shifted. People whispered, "Is she talking about him?" That sounds like his story. The bride felt heat in her chest. She crossed her arms again. This is not fair, she thought. This is my wedding. But the song did not stop. The woman sang about a man who changed his clothes, changed his friends, changed his voice. She sang about how success can make someone forget. Forget love. Forget loyalty. Forget where they started. The groom closed his eyes for a moment. He remembered. He remembered the cheap shoes, the small room, the woman who stood by him. The bride did not know that story. She only knew the finished man, the polished man, the man who now wore expensive suits. The woman on stage was singing about the man before that, the real man. The crowd leaned forward. The story in the song was clear. This was not just music. This was history. This was a life. This was a woman telling her truth in front of everyone. The bride's friends looked at each other. One of them whispered, "This is getting uncomfortable." Another said, "This feels real." The bride's smile was gone now. Her jaw was tight. Her eyes moved around the room. She saw faces change. She saw respect grow. Not for her. For the woman she wanted to shame. The pregnant woman's voice grew stronger again. She sang about a promise. A promise made in a small kitchen. A promise broken in a big house. She sang about a man who forgot his word. The groom felt tears fill his eyes. He tried to blink them away, but they came anyway. He had not planned to cry. He had planned to smile. He had planned to forget. But the song would not let him. The woman sang about standing alone, about waiting for a call that never came, about holding a phone with shaking hands. The guests felt it. Many had felt that kind of pain, waiting, hoping, being ignored. The song connected. The bride felt something she had not felt before. Fear. Not fear of the woman. Fear of the truth. Fear that people would see her story differently. Fear that her perfect wedding was becoming someone else's moment. She took a step toward the stage. She thought about stopping the music. But again, she froze. Stopping it now would make her look guilty. Make her look cruel. So she stayed still. The pregnant woman moved into the next verse. Her voice softened. She sang about love that did not die, even when it was pushed away. She sang about caring even when it was not returned. The room felt heavy with emotion. A woman in the crowd wiped her eyes. A man shook his head slowly. "This is painful," he whispered. The groom's shoulders started to shake. He remembered nights when she waited for him. He remembered her smile. He remembered how easy it was to walk away, how hard it was to face it now. The pregnant woman opened her eyes again. She looked at the bride this time, not with hate, with calm, with strength. Her eyes said, "You may have his present, but you cannot erase my past." The bride felt small for the first time, not because of money, not because of status, but because of truth. Truth has a way of making everyone equal. The piano slowed. The song became quiet again. The pregnant woman took a breath. Her hand touched her belly gently. The next part was coming. The part she had not planned to sing. The part that scared her the most. The part about the child. The room did not know it yet, but the next words were about to change the meaning of everything. As the music prepared for the next verse, the air felt thick. The guests leaned in. The bride held her breath. The groom closed his eyes. Because the truth about the baby was about to be sung, the piano became very soft, almost like a whisper. The pregnant woman placed one hand on her belly. The room noticed. A few people held their breath. She looked down for a moment. Then she looked up again. Her eyes were not scared anymore. They were calm, strong. She began to sing about a small heartbeat. A heartbeat she felt in quiet moments. A heartbeat that gave her strength on tired days. Her voice was gentle, but it carried deep power. She sang about a child who did not ask to be born into pain. A child who did not choose broken love. A child who only needed love. The room felt something change. This was no longer about the past. This was about the future. The guests shifted in their seats. Some leaned forward. Some placed hands on their hearts. The song touched a place deeper than anger. It touched hope. She sang about being afraid, about crying alone at night, about wondering how she would do it. But she also sang about choosing to stand, choosing to be strong, choosing to protect the life inside her. The bride's face changed. Her lips parted slightly. She did not expect this. She expected tears. She expected weakness. She did not expect courage. The groom's chest felt heavy. When she sang about a child asking, "Where's my father?" his heart broke. Not because of shame, but because of truth. He felt the weight of his choices. For the first time, it was not about him. It was about someone else. Someone small. Someone innocent. The woman's voice grew a little stronger. She sang about giving her child what she never had. Safety. Love. A home built on truth. Not on lies. Not on fear. Not on money. The room was quiet. Very quiet. No phones. No whispers. Only listening. Only feeling. A man in the crowd wiped his eyes. An older woman placed her hand over her mouth. "This is beautiful," she whispered. The bride felt her chest tighten. This was not her moment anymore. The attention was not on her dress. Not on her ring. Not on her perfect image. The attention was on a pregnant woman with a song and a story. The bride felt something she had never felt before. Being unseen. Being second. Being powerless. The pregnant woman sang about dignity. About standing tall even when pushed down. About choosing grace instead of hate. Her voice did not shake. Her body did not bend. She was steady, like a tree in a storm. The groom stood very still. His hands were at his sides. His eyes were full. He wanted to move. He wanted to say something. But he did not yet. He was trapped between past and present. Between comfort and conscience. The song moved into a stronger part. Not louder. Stronger in meaning. She sang about a child who would grow up knowing their worth. Not knowing shame. Not knowing silence. She sang about breaking a cycle. A cycle of leaving. A cycle of hiding. A cycle of choosing easy over right. The guests started to clap softly. Not at the end. In the middle. Slow claps. Respect claps. The bride's friends looked uncomfortable. One of them whispered, "People are on her side." Another whispered back, "This is not good." The bride felt her control slipping away. She wanted to take back the microphone. She wanted to take back the moment. But it was too late. The moment did not belong to her anymore. It belonged to truth. The pregnant woman lifted her chin higher. She was not singing for revenge. She was not singing for pity. She was singing for herself. For her child. For every woman who was told to be quiet. Her voice filled the room. Strong. Clear. Proud. The groom finally took a step forward. The room noticed. All eyes moved to him. His face showed pain, regret, fear, and something else. Understanding. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. He was not ready yet, but something inside him had changed. The song reached its end. The final note was long, steady, full. When it ended, silence followed. Then something unexpected. People stood up, one by one, then more, then many. They stood. They clapped. Not polite claps. Strong claps. Respect claps. Honor claps. The pregnant woman's eyes filled with tears. Not tears of pain. Tears of strength. She had come to be humiliated. She was now being honored. The bride stayed seated. Her hands were tight. Her smile was gone. The power she wanted to show had moved to someone else. The room had chosen, and it had not chosen her. The groom stood frozen. The applause felt loud in his ears, because with every clap, he felt the weight of what he had done. And what he had to face next, the applause slowly faded. But the feeling in the room did not. It stayed. Heavy. Real. The pregnant woman still stood on the stage. Her hands were on the microphone. Her chest moved up and down as she breathed. She had given everything in that song. Now it was time for what came after. The groom took another step forward, then another. Every step felt like walking into his own past. All eyes were on him. The bride turned her head slowly. "Don't," she whispered under her breath. But he did not listen. He stood in front of the pregnant woman. His voice was low, shaky. "I'm sorry," he said. The room went silent again. The bride's eyes went wide. "What?" she said softly, shocked. The groom swallowed. "I was wrong," he continued. "I left when I should have stayed. I chose easy over right. I hurt you." The pregnant woman looked at him. She did not smile. She did not cry. She just listened. "I can't change the past," he said. "But I see it now. I see what I did." The bride stepped forward. "This is not the time," she said, trying to keep control. "This is our wedding." The groom turned to her. "This is the truth," he said, and it should have been said a long time ago. The guests whispered. Some shook their heads. Some nodded slowly. The bride felt heat rise in her face. She had planned this day. She had planned control. She had planned power. Now it was slipping away. The pregnant woman spoke for the first time, not singing. Her voice was calm. "I didn't come here for this," she said. "I didn't come for apologies. I came because I was invited." Her words were simple, but they were strong. "I came ready to be embarrassed," she continued, "but I will not leave embarrassed." The room felt that. The bride tried to smile. A tight smile. "You got your moment," the bride said. "Now you can go." The pregnant woman looked at her, not with anger, with calm strength. "I'm not going because you tell me to," she said. "I'm going because I choose to." The guests felt it. This was no longer about a wedding. This was about dignity. The groom lowered his head. "I want to be part of my child's life," he said quietly. The pregnant woman looked at him again. Her eyes were steady. "That is not something you say on a stage," she said. "That is something you prove with actions." The room was quiet. No one argued. No one laughed. The bride felt eyes on her. Not admiring eyes. Questioning eyes. Judging eyes. For the first time, she felt exposed. Not the other woman. Her. The pregnant woman handed the microphone back. Her hands were steady now. "I say my truth," she said. "I don't need to fight. I don't need to beg. I don't need to explain anymore." She turned to the guests. "Thank you for listening," she said. People nodded. Some whispered, "She's strong. She's brave. She didn't deserve that." The bride looked around. She saw that the room had changed sides. Not because of money. Not because of status. Because of truth. The pregnant woman picked up her bag. She placed one hand on her belly. She took one last look at the groom. Not with love. Not with hate. With peace. Then she looked at the bride. "You tried to make me small," she said quietly. "But you gave me a stage instead." Those words hit harder than shouting. The bride could not answer. The pregnant woman turned and walked down the aisle. Not slowly. Not sadly. With strength. With her head high. With dignity. The guests made space for her. Some nodded. Some smiled softly. Some looked at her with respect. The doors of the wedding hall opened. Light came in. She walked into it. Not as a victim. As a woman who found her voice. Inside the hall, the bride stood frozen. Her perfect day felt broken. Not by the past. By her own choices. The groom stood in the middle. Between two worlds. One he chose. One he left. Now he had to face both. The music did not start again. The mood was gone. The room felt different. The guests would remember this wedding. Not for flowers. Not for cake. Not for dresses. But for a woman who turned shame into power. Outside, the pregnant woman took a deep breath. She placed her hand on her belly. "We're okay," she whispered. She walked away, stronger than when she walked in. And somewhere deep inside that wedding hall, everyone knew. Karma did not shout, "Calmason," and dignity walked out the door.